What's going on, diehards and degenerates? It is that time, the total takedown for UFC Vegas 77, and it's ladies' night. I'm feeling a little simpy, so we're gonna rock the Jillian Robertson shirt, even though she's not competing this weekend. Do me a favor, as always, and hit that like button for me. Make sure you guys check out the link below for Bet Openly, and make sure you subscribe here to Pub Sports Radio. We're talking totals. Let's get into it. First fight of the night: Aileen Perez takes on Ashley Evans Smith. We've got a 2.5. The over is -180. The under 2.5 is +150. And this is another spot where you guys know me. If we're betting an under, we gotta have a reason to bet that under on both sides of the fight. That's the rule. This is a one-sided affair. Aileen Perez is the only one of the two who's got any finishing upside whatsoever. Ashley Evans Smith, she is old. She's been out of the cage for 2 years. She's finally getting that retirement call. She's 6-5 under her professional career. I don't think much of her at all. In fact, I don't think she's very good anywhere. She's a member of a bygone era where you just had to be big and tough and mean to succeed in women's MMA. That time is long, long gone. Now you've got to have the technical skills to back it up. These women are younger and more athletic and faster than they used to be. They hit a hell of a lot harder than they used to. Aileen Perez is exactly that. If this fight is finishing, Aileen Perez is doing it. Now, if Ashley Evans Smith is tough enough these days still to hang on, and maybe Perez isn't quite well-rounded enough to go ahead and get that finish at this stage of her career, this thing does probably go over. But I think Perez can smash. So at this point, I'm completely passing on this one. I have to say over for the sake of the show, but I'm not laying -180 for this fight to go over when I'm going to be rooting for Aileen Perez to rip Ashley Evans Smith's head off the entire time. Next up, Carl Deaton takes on Alex Munoz. 2.5 total here. The over 2.5 is -210. The under 2.5 +175. Again, I'm leaning over on this one, unfortunately. Carl Deaton, I'm not entirely sure this guy's UFC level. He's gritty, he's tough, he's a gamer, he will hang in there, but he's just kind of mid-tier everywhere with all of his skills. Alex Munoz, on the other hand, he's got one good thing that he's really good at, and that is wrestle. He does have a big overhand right. He's got power, but he's got all those big old muscles on him. If he doesn't hit you clean with that big power shot, it's just going to be a lay and pray type of decision. I think we see a wrestling match here. I think we get a close competitive fight. I don't think either of these guys is very good. I'll say over 2.5 -210. As at, Maxim takes on Tyson Nam in the next fight, total being 2.5 here. The under 2.5 is -140. The over 2.5 is +120. And finally, an under I can get behind. Azmat is the new kid on the block. Shiny undefeated record coming in here to the UFC. He can wrestle. He can knock people out. He can take you down and tap you if he wants to. He's got the whole package. Tyson Nam starting to show a few signs of age, but he's got that big power at this weight class. That's the whole thing. He's only ever beaten people by KO. He struggles with decisions because he just doesn't have enough volume to get the win in that circumstance. He's tough to take down, but we did see him get taken down and submitted in his last fight, which kind of is showing me that cliff is coming. I do think Azmat probably handles Tyson Nam, and if Tyson Nam does win, it's probably a knockout. I like the under 2.5 -140. Gianno Valdez takes on Evan Elder in the next fight, a 1.5 total. The over 1.5 -150. The under 1.5 +130. This one's a little interesting to me because I like violence here. I like violence a lot. Gianno Valdez is very fragile, but he's also kind of a bit of a glass cannon. He got dropped in the first round of his last fight twice, managed to dig deep and battle back. I don't think much of Natan Levy. You guys know this. Because of Levy's fight IQ, because of his gas tank problems, he let him off the hook. Evan Elder's not going to do that. If Evan Elder hurts this guy, he's going to charge in, guns blazing, and either get hit with a counter shot and die himself, or he's going to put this guy in the ground. I think we get a very, very deadly fight here. And the way these guys start fast, I think it's hurry. I think it finishes in a hurry. Under 1.5. +130. I'll take that plus money. Give it to me, baby. I also don't mind if you want to parlay the fight doesn't go the distance is maybe a better way to do it, just in case this fight sneaks into the second round. But with the pace that Evan Elder puts on, I've got a real hard time seeing this fight go a full 15. No total yet for Jack Della and Bassil, but based on what we've seen from the hype on Jack Della, what he's capable of with his hands, probably 1.5, probably juiced to the under, and I would say probably rightfully so. Next up, Mikel Costa takes on Austin Lingo, and I'm sorry, that's Mikel Keza Costa. That name is difficult to say. Total set at 2.5. We got pick-em odds here, though. -110 either way, and I get that. Under kind of makes a little bit more sense to me here. Costa came out guns blazing in his last fight. Definitely earned everybody's respect. He's got that shoot-the-box kicking game. Once he got taken down, that was a wrap. Austin Lingo's not taking this guy down. He's going to continue to plod forward, punching his way into range, and hoping to clip this guy with something big. I think we get a firefight on the feet, quite frankly, and I think Costa probably tries to show out because of the way he lost his last fight. That being the case, that puts Lingo in a break or be broken type of situation, and I do think we end up getting violence one way or the other. Under 2.5 at -110, I like it. Estela Nunez takes on Victoria Dudikova, and we have another 2.5 total here. The under 2.5 is even money +100. The over 2.5 is -120. I spoke on this not too long ago. When you get these buy down women's MMA totals, it seems like it's for a very good reason. Like, we would be laying chalk if this was men's MMA, but because it's women, they expect it to go the full 15. We actually probably still have value on the violence because they're just not giving these women the credit that they deserve for their offensive firepower. Victoria plods forward and has no striking game whatsoever. She absorbs punishment with her face, and then she closes the range to take you down. We've seen that be really the Achilles heel of Estela Nunez. Her gas tank doesn't last more than 7 minutes, and if you come forward and you can take everything she's got to offer, she completely falls apart on the mat. Now, some people have not quite been able to finish her. She is big, athletic, strong, explosive, hard to hold down. So because of that, she has gotten away with a couple of decision losses here. But Victoria Dudikova, from what we've seen, even just that one time on Dana White's Contender Series, this girl's tough as nails. The worry here for me, though, is that defensive, that lack of ability to stop any kind of punches or punishment coming her way. Estela Nunez hits hard. I would not be shocked if Estela Nunez wins this thing via early knockout. And if she doesn't win via early knockout, I think she gets styled on the ground. I actually like under 2.5. Let's see some violence here in women's MMA. +100. Give me the plus money. Next up, Melsik Bagdasaryan takes on Tucker Lutz, another 2.5. The over -130, the under is +110. Melsik can absolutely nuke Tucker Lutz early in this fight. Straight done, period, sentence over. If Tucker Lutz gets the wrestling going, this fight probably drags out. Melsik is hard to control on the mat. I know he got submitted in his last fight, but that was a bit of a Hail Mary dive on the neck, fluky kind of sub there. If he patches up any of that grappling whatsoever, that doesn't happen ever again. And I think we end up getting a bit of a firefight. The problem for me is Melsik is incredibly tough to finish. He's very durable. We have seen Tucker Lutz broken, but he also is a guy that's been pretty tough throughout the course of his career. I want violence. I'm picking Melsik to win this fight, and I do think he can do it in spectacular fashion, but I think I have to say over for this one. Not a confident take on this total, folks. I'm not going to, spit any bullets at you here that I don't believe. I'm going to say over 2.5 here, but I kind of hope I'm wrong. Nazim Sadykhov takes on Terrance McKinney in the next fight. We got a 1.5. The over 1.5 is +150. The under 1.5 is -180. And all this, I can't play this one because this comes down to what T-Rex are we going to get. If Terrance McKinney comes out guns blazing the way we've seen him here in the past, he kills or is be killed. Like, that's it. That's what this guy does. He puts it all out on the line and the fight is over within 2 minutes. If he doesn't do that, though, we've seen him have some success grappling. We've seen him be the bigger, taller, longer guy. He just doesn't really know how to fight for an extended fight. He's a young fighter. He's improving. He's putting it all together. We will see him turn that corner. Is it this fight that he turns that corner or not? And that's the big question. His opponent, Nazim Sadykhov, I like this guy. I've mentioned before that I feel like he's a lot like his teammate Matt Frevola. He's just more durable than Matt. The one thing, though, that I want to go ahead and correct on that assessment is that not only is he more durable than Matt Frevola, we got to take away some of that offensive pop. He is a lot like Matt Frevola, but he doesn't have the power that Matt Frevola has. At least we haven't seen it at the UFC level. So I do think this is the type of guy that Terrance McKinney might actually have some prolonged success against, and especially if he decides to go out there and grapple. We could see a sneaky over 1.5 here. This could be that come out and do whatever it takes to get the win spot for Terrance, and Nazim is a very tough guy to put away. I could see Terrance McKinney taking him down. I will lean with the over 1.5 at plus money here, but again, going nowhere near this thing because if Terrance comes down and decides to throw down early, that thing doesn't stand a chance. Francisco Prado takes on Ottman Azaitar up next. 1.5 the total. The under 1.5 is -170. The over 1.5 is +145. And it's almost the same exact situation as the last fight, except I have zero arguments for that over. The only reason either of these guys hit that over is because they're too stupid durable to be able to get finished. We've seen Ottman Azaitar knocked out and finished. Francisco Prado showed off his chin in his last fight. I'm not convinced Ottman's got that legendary durability. He's just been fighting cans his entire career, so I actually think he can be finished. Prado, can he take a shot from Azaitar? We'll find out. I'll say under 1.5 -170. Too much chalk probably to lay, but I do think we see a knockout. Chelsea Chandler takes on Norma Dumont. Total set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is -220, and that's mostly because of Big Norm. This girl's a decisionator. We've seen it time and time again. Even when she has just an exceptional grappling advantage. She refuses to use it, and you're going to get a clinchy, low volume, pick and poke, pick your shot type of fight, because that's what Norma Dumont does. That's what I expect to see here. If this fight finishes, it's very likely from Chelsea Chandler, because she either gets Norma in a compromised position, hits harder than her, or she would have to completely gas herself out in this fight and then be completely helpless, and Big Norm just has no other option but to punch her in the face one more time and the ref pulls her off. I've got a hard time seeing a finish from the Dumont side, but theoretically I guess it's possible. I'm going to say under 2.5 here at plus 180, just because that gas tank is unknown. I do think Chelsea Chandler could maybe break herself on Norma Dumont and then find a way to getting finished deep in this fight, because she's a young, inexperienced fighter, and young, experienced fighters make young, experienced fighter mistakes. Norma Dumont, on the other hand, though, I think she can be broken. She just hasn't fought anybody that's capable of it. This girl's capable of it. I'll say under 2.5 plus 180. Next up, Jun-yong Park takes on Albert Duraev, a 2.5 total. Over is minus 130, under 2.5 is plus 110, and it's a Park fight. So I got to go over, period. That's it. End of breakdown. Jun-yong Park is tough. He's durable. He's gritty. He knows how to grapple. Albert Duraev is a front runner. He gasses out halfway through the fight. Yes, he's got good, solid wrestling. Yes, he hits hard. Yes, he's explosive and fast, but that falls off a cliff quick. I think Jun-yong Park is going to stay safe. I think he's going to have higher volume, but he's not going to be sitting down on bombs the way that Duraev does. I do think these guys are going to grapple. I think they'll end up in some exchanges up against the fence. They'll clinch, they'll get takedowns, they'll scramble. And with all that going on, I don't think anybody's finishing anybody. So I'll say over 2.5 at minus 130. Main event time. Mayra Bueno Silva takes on Holm. Total's 4.5. The over is minus 190. The under 4.5 is plus 160. And you guys have heard me time and time again. It is death, taxes, and Holm by decision. That is how these fights play out. That's how Holm fights every single time she steps in that octagon, and it's another main event, so God forbid we got to watch 25 minutes of this shit. But she is taking on Mayra Bueno Silva, someone who is going to force the issue in this spot. All of Holm's advantages are going to be negated. This girl can kick at range. She kicks harder than Holly does. This girl's a clinch fighter. She's got knees and elbows in close. Holly may not want to engage in the clinch quite as much as she used to. Holm going to take her down. She's got decent submission defense, but Mayra Bueno Silva has one of the most offensive guards off of her back we've ever seen from women's MMA. On top of that, Mayra Bueno Silva has never fought 5 rounds before, and she has a tendency of dumping the gas in the first 2 rounds. So if she is somebody who's going to go out for that finish early on, there's a chance that she leaves herself vulnerable. Holm could finish a gassed version of Mayra Bueno Silva late in this fight, and personally, I think that Mayra Bueno is going to put Holm away early, and that gives me an under. I'll say under 4.5 at plus 160. I don't think we're going to get your classic long-running Holm main event this week, folks. Fingers crossed. That's it for the Total Takedown. Join me tomorrow for the undefeated post-weigh-in show. We'll break it all down after weigh-ins. Good luck on your degenerate action, except there's nothing out there to bet on right now except for water polo. Let's roll.